All right, let me show you how exactly it's going to work. So here is the current state of the guide table. We have 3 guides in it, and the guide that we'll be attempting to update shortly is the guide 3 here, whose current salary is 3,000. So here is a user X client in which I have currently set the lock mode type here to the Pessimistic Write Lock, because we are going to make an update. And if we are going to make an update to the data that we are reading first, then we should always be using the write lock. Okay, so I'm going to place a breakpoint here on line 30 and then run our application in debug mode. Okay, so the point of execution at this point is on line 30. And then what I'm going to do here is use this MySQL console, which I'm going to use here simulating the second transaction. And using the second transaction, what we are going to do is that we are going to update the salary of the guide with ID 3 here to 4,000. And it's important that you note here is that we are going to run here this MySQL console in the auto commit mode, which means that this update or any other query that we run here on this console is going to have an implicit transaction. It's going to run within a transaction, but we do not have to explicitly mention it. So what I'm going to do is just attempt to execute this query. And if you notice here that it hasn't committed yet, this transaction, because we already have one running in our IDE. So unless we commit the transaction here that we are running in our user X client, this transaction here will not commit on our console here. So let me go ahead and first step through this line here. And you'll notice that only after we commit this transaction here, this update here will commit. Otherwise it won't. So let me just, you must have noticed that as soon as this commit here on line 33 got committed, this transaction 1 here in this user X client, we had immediately after that this other transaction here on our MySQL console also got committed. So what happened here is that first we had the salary of all the guides here that we were reading updated to 4 times. As we could see here that we are updating all the salaries to 4 times. And after that, we had this update executed here as well. So first, we would see in our, if you try to again see what's there in our guide table, that first we had all the salaries here, all the guides here updated to 4 times. So the salary of the guide 1 here got updated to 4,000. Salary of the guide 2 here got updated to 8,000. Salary of the guide 3 here would have first got updated to 12,000, as we were updating them all to the 4 times of the current salary. But because we had this update also running for us, we had the salary of the guide with ID 3 updated to 4,000, which is why the salary here is 4,000. So that's how the pessimistic write works. It was locked for the time the transaction 1 here was running in our Eclipse IDE, but as soon as we committed that transaction, only after that we had the lock released and had this update also issued for us.